one right prediction, and that's what Riley called. He predicted Mawai would switch out, and once that would happen, you know, it was over.
Yeah, it was over.
It would have been really difficult, I think, for Allen to have pulled it out after that one.
All right, well, it looks like because that game went so quickly, we may also be able to take a look at another game.
Yeah, and that's pretty hype because the other games today, it's been really, really quick, or I should say really, really long, excuse me. So as a result, we haven't been able to jump into any other players, but we're going to be going into this match between Stefan and Joseph. You do see the team up on screen. Another Eviltal Groudon team. It's Kangaskhan, Eviltal, Groudon, Talonflame, Weavile, and Thundurus.
All right. Looks like that team will be Joseph's team on your screen. The Eviltal, Groudon, Kangaskhan. Sorry, no, that's Stefan's team. Is Eviltal, Groudon, Kangaskhan, and no, yeah, that's Joseph's team. Eviltal, Groudon, Kangaskhan, Talonflame, Weavile, and Thundurus.
Yep, and Stefan's team, which you aren't able to see, is actually really cool. I'm excited for this. It's Groudon, Kangaskhan, Gengar, Rayquaza, Suicune, and Ferrothorn. Suicune is definitely the Pokemon that sticks out to me the most because, fun fact, it actually won the 2010 Japanese National Championships, but that one was a sheer cold kind of set that a lot of players kind of counted out, but we're going to be able to jump into this match.
All right. Well, it looks like we have too many Josephs competing in the tournament right now. But you will see Joseph on the top of your screen. Eviltal, Thundurus up against Groudon. Suicune from Stefan. Like you mentioned, I really do enjoy Suicune. We saw a little bit of it in Madison. I think that if the metagame had slowed down a little bit, which it probably didn't since we're here because the other game ended so quickly, but if the metagame slows down a little bit, Suicune seems like it could be pretty strong.
It does get access to a lot of fun moves. I mean, you do get access to the Tailwind, which is one of the best moves to use. Tailwind is able to, of course, set up the speed and increase and just allow you to outspeed everything. But it's really interesting to see Suicune make an appearance here. I think Suicune only really makes sense if you have a Rayquaza on the team because otherwise you can't touch the Groudons. But it's actually going to switch out right now.
Yep, well, Suicune is going to switch out for Kangaskhan, a much more traditional lead. But, of course, turn 2, you know, who's counting?
Right.
Groudon will protect itself while Thundurus goes for the taunt. So trying to taunt that Suicune, making sure that Suicune doesn't get like a Tailwind up. But unfortunately, it's just the Kangaskhan in the place of that Suicune.
Yeah, I really think Joseph could have capitalized a little bit more there because he was able to, he had the lead matchup, right? Like, Eviltal Thundurus definitely trumps Groudon and Suicune because Suicune can't do too much. You can set up a Tailwind, which is obviously what Joseph was trying to shut down. But Stefan made the right read and ended up switching out into Kangaskhan, and Groudon didn't take any damage from foul play. And now it's in Stefan's ballpark. You can fake out and use an attack with Groudon, and Eviltal can't go for a foul play if it's targeted by fake out.
All right, we'll have to see if Kangaskhan is going to use that fake out right away. It is turn 2, so people probably aren't expecting it, but Kangaskhan switching in is able to get the fake out onto Eviltal, which is really big because Eviltal does not like taking any damage at all. Thundurus will go for the swagger.
Not like this.
All right, not like this.
Not until the ground type.
Flashbacks. Swagger onto the Groudon. So Groudon is confused. Eviltal has flinched. Groudon, will it hit itself in its own confusion?
Oh.
Yes. The flinch, or the confusion hit didn't deal that much damage for a swaggered Groudon.
Yeah, I think I've seen ground types take a little bit more from swagger damage before. But interesting thing to know, we're not sure whether that Groudon's actually physical or special. If that were a special Groudon and Eruption there, you know, that swagger doesn't matter at all because you knock out Eviltal and Thundurus takes so much damage, but that is such an unfortunate confusion. But I like that play on Joseph's end, you know, because Fire Punch will knock out your Eviltal most likely anyway, and Eviltal could foul play, but he's actually opting to protect here, wanting to dodge Kangaskhan's attacks.
Yeah, Eviltal will go ahead and protect itself while Thunder Wave comes out from Thundurus onto Kangaskhan. This is their second game, so it's possible that Joseph has seen that Groudon using special moves previously. Double Edge into the Protect. Groudon still confused. Does get the Eruption off this time. Close to full power, not quite full power because it did take that hit. Will connect with Thundurus. Is it going to be enough? Not quite. So Thundurus still able to tank that Eruption pretty cleanly.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is it revealed that Groudon most likely is going to be that special set. That's why when it hit itself in confusion, it didn't
deal that much damage.
Right, but the thing is, now it's still at +2 attack, so Eviltal can actually still foul play that.
Or +4 with another swagger.
Exactly, but then you have to kind of worry about Kangaskhan still because it's not intimidated or anything, so it can go for a pretty safe attack. So there are definitely still some mind games here, and the other thing you have to be concerned about is do you think Kangaskhan gonna Sucker Punch your Thunders? Because if that's the case, then you know, you could potentially just go for that and obviously dodge the Sucker Punch by going for a priority attack.
It looks like Stefan wants to protect his Groudon, will be able to protect Groudon, goes through the confusion, so no damage risking onto that Groudon. Joseph, is this 2016 or 2012 or 2013
maybe?
That Parafusion, Kangaskhan confused and paralyzed. Foul play into the Kangaskhan actually, so will actually connect, is enough to pick up the one-hit KO. So can all take a step back.
Yeah, we can't breathe a sigh of relief.
Right. It was all about boosting the Yveltal.
I think, you know, we can look at Swagger historically in VGC. Like 2013, Ryosuke Kosuge obviously used it without even any foul play on his team.
Against whom?
Pretty bad play, named Aaron. But on that team, it was really designed to just win you games that you had, you know, non-optimal matchups. But we can see why Thundurus and Yveltal work out so nicely. And that was actually a combination that we saw in 2013 with Thundurus and the Liepard, you know, used by a bunch of players such as Sejong Park and Barry Anderson, where you would Swagger and then you would foul play immediately after, boosted by a Dark Gem, picks up the knockout. So Seven there trying to go for the, you know, protect, does get it, but Joseph knows, okay, your Groudon's not the bigger threat right now. You can get an Eruption off, but you still have to attack through the confusion. Yeah.
And of course now Rayquaza on the field, still vulnerable to potential Thunder Wave coming out from Thundurus. Wants to protect itself, try to get that Thundurus off the field so it can just go ahead and start sweeping. Will avoid that Thunder Wave, but the foul play coming out, obviously this isn't, that's so much damage. Yveltal just deals so much damage when you get a Swagger boost on your opponent.
It's been making a statement on stream today, honestly, Evan. We saw the, you know, team that was similar to Rashomani's team with Yveltal Groudon, and here we're seeing Thundurus and how much work it's been able to do in Swagger. Like, this game is, I mean, not over, but it's been so good for Joseph because he's been able to make these Swagger plays, and he's not even relying on the confusions, although that first
one did hurt.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that was a special Groudon that the foul play was still able to pick up basically a one-hit KO on.
Right, and I think this was something that we were talking about on stream earlier, but these Pokemon have such inherently strong stats that, like, even a Groudon that's not physical is still going to have a really high stat naturally.
Yeah, well, Yveltal is going to protect itself, knows that it is public enemy #1 right now. Rayquaza trying to get a second Protect off, trying to avoid that Thunder Wave as best it can. Unfortunately, does not succeed and will be paralyzed. Suicune, though, gets the Tailwind up. So Suicune at least will be able to do something in this game.
Yeah, but I fear it's probably a little bit too late at this point.
It gets a turn.
It does. We'll give Suicune, you know, it's limelight here, but definitely unfortunate. I think this game came down to it would definitely be a very different match if Groudon got that Eruption off. But you know, Joseph was playing to his odds. He didn't have any better play at that point, so you might as well just go for a Swagger. And if it goes in your way, you're in a very good position. If not, then you're in the same position you were in before. Like, at least you gave yourself those odds. And so he made that really good play where he doubled up onto the Kangaskhan, and Steven went for the play and obviously didn't work out. But it's not over yet, as we do see some damage coming out here.
Yeah, Rayquaza will get an extreme speed off, but unfortunately not enough to pick up the KO onto Yveltal. Thunder Wave out from the Thundurus as well.
Onto the Water-type Pokemon this time.
Onto Suicune. Super effective Thunder Wave onto the Suicune. Ice Beam onto Yveltal will finally pick up the KO. So Yveltal does go down, but, you know, it did its job.
Yeah,
and then some.
I really like the decision on Steven's end to not Mega Evolve the... obviously it can't actually, so it's not much of a decision, but it still helps out a lot because if there is the Groudon in the back, then this game is actually definitely not over. You see how bulky Suicune is and Rayquaza, neither of them have taken damage. Of course, you can double up, but Rayquaza is a Pokemon that you often have to ask, does it have Focus Sash? Because Mega Rayquazas nowadays love that Focus Sash item.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're Joseph, you could just go Ice Cold Crash and Thunderbolt. You don't have to worry about Tailwind at this point, so you have to ask, is he going to protect? But I think it's relatively safe for him to continue doubling up on Rayquaza because the speed's now in his control.
Yeah.
But then, of course, Suicune could maybe get a Scald Burn, maybe he'll just knock out Thundurus. It's still a difficult game for Steven to win, but he's got two healthy Pokemon just paralyzed.
Yeah, and the new Pokemon is Weavile, who I don't believe we've seen on stream yet today, but has been getting increased popularity. The Fake Out, one of the big reasons why, does flinch the Rayquaza, potentially breaking a Focus Sash if that Rayquaza has it. The Swagger onto Suicune, so now paralyzed and confused. Suicune's going to try to attack through it all. Confused, hits itself in its own confusion. Well, I mean, how do you feel about this?
I was actually kind of surprised because I think if you're Steven there, you could have just won the game. But maybe he didn't want to risk missing Icicle Crash, so he just went for the safe fake-out play. But if Suicune attacks through that Parafusion, then you can actually get a knockout on one of the two Pokemon. For example, if Rayquaza protected and Suicune attacked there, that could have been big, but that wasn't the case. And we do see Icicle Crash here.
Yeah, Rayquaza does get its Protect off. Icicle Crash into the Protect, Thunderbolt onto Suicune, dealing a lot of damage back. Suicune, though, will eat its berry, heal up a little bit. But still needs to attack through the paralysis and no longer the confusion, just the paralysis gets it off, gets the Scald, is going to connect to Weavile.
Burn?
Does it get the burn? No burn and no Tailwind.
And you can see that Suicune's not exactly the most offensive Pokemon. That Scald did less than 50%. Weavile is probably one of the most frail Pokemon in this format.
Although Weavile taking that damage isn't the bulkiest Pokemon, possible this extreme speed from Rayquaza. Is going to try.
So close.
In the red. Swagger, though, again, onto Suicune. So Weavile is going to be able to stay alive. Right now, Suicune will be confused, will have its attack raised again. Weavile uses its Icicle Crash, is going to connect. So Weavile breaks a Focus Sash, will connect onto the Rayquaza, and should be able to pick up a clean KO there as well. So Suicune, paralyzed, confused, up against 3 of Joseph's Pokemon. Can it even get an attack off? Confused, nope. Hits itself in its own confusion once again.
Feels bad, man.
Like, it feels so bad.
But I want to credit Steven because it looked like he was, just not going to be able to win this one, but he actually did, I thought, exactly what he needed to. If you can knock out that Weavile, then suddenly the Rayquaza-Suicune combination just instantly eliminates the potential Groudon Joseph probably has in the back. Yeah. Steven did what he needed to, but unfortunately he didn't get the rolls that really could have that he needed, and unfortunately he's not going to be able to force a game 3. So we'll see Joseph take it 2-0.
Yep. So Stefan really tried, really good games from him, but unfortunately Joseph just took control of that game with that Yveltal early, and the Thundurus Swagger plus the Thunder Wave, not even the confusion for the most part. Right. Just being able to boost the damage that Yveltal was dealing. Was huge. Yveltal, I don't think anyone came into this thinking that it would be one of the major offensive threats, but when you're paired up against, alongside a Thundurus, who could turn your opponent's stats against them, then we can see what it does.
In my opinion, it's one of those Pokemon where it's like, oh, they're not going to use it. There's going to be so much Xerneas, right? But there's a reason why 2013 world champion Arashomati was able to win a national champion with it in Europe in pretty dominating fashion, right? So it was really cool to see. It was definitely unfortunate because I thought that Stefan had played that really well too. It was he wasn't getting the rolls he needs, but that's why Thundurus historically has been one of the top 2, top 3 Pokemon in VGC in every format. When we look at since it was introduced, won the World Championships in 2011, made the finals on Wolfie Glick's team in the Masters Division in 2012, was on Ryosuke Kosuge's second place team in 2013, wasn't allowed in 2014, won the World Championships last year. So trend here is if you want to win Worlds or make the finals, use Thundurus.
Use Thundurus. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those Pokemon that, it's already good, but it also gives you basically an out in any situation. Definitely. There's always a chance. We haven't been seeing the swagger type Thunduruses as much this year, largely because if you get one of those rolls wrong, then you lose the game pretty much with some of these powerful restricted Pokemon. And
you don't have, the slot for it because the offensive ones, you want Thunderbolt, a Hidden Power, a Taunt, or Thunder Wave, Protect. Bulkier ones, you want those maybe swap one for Substitute or something like that. But I actually was using Swagger Thunders very early on in the season because when you think about it, if you can get that legendary restricted Pokemon to not attack for 1 turn, think about how much momentum that gets you. Not to mention the future rolls too. You bait out switches, you kind of roll the odds into your favor, and that's why it's such a nuisance to deal with. For poor Steven there, he wasn't able to get the rolls he needed. But I think credits to both players. It was a game that really came down to it felt like how those rolls went. And obviously it was in Joseph's favor when you're paralyzed and you're confused, the odds are in your favor.
Yeah, I mean, he was able to control the pace of that game.
Right.
Obviously, the Groudon hitting itself in confusion on that eruption turn would have changed things a lot.
I think that was the biggest thing because if he hits there, then the Yveltal most likely is knocked out. Thundurus, we saw how much damage it took. If Yveltal is knocked out, then suddenly you're foul playing.
Then there's all the damage.
Exactly. That was the main source of damage. And so we've seen how Yveltals have been able to kind of dominate because they stick around for so long earlier on stream too. So, that's going to be a trend of this tournament, right? Can we see Yveltals continue to be so well protected and dish out so much damage? Or are players going to be able to realize, okay, this is really good. I need to knock it out quicker.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes Yveltal such a risky Pokemon to bring. It's a very frail Pokemon. It deals a lot of damage, but it just